Hey ghouls and gals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, and for today's video I am going over my Summerween TBR. Last month, I participated in 2 readathons. That was a little too much structured reading for me. I wasn't going to participate in any readathons this month, but then Gabby Reads and Olivia Reads a Latte announced Summerween, so I had to. So the mood reader in me is not excited to make another TBR, like a structured TBR, but this readathon is going on from August 24th through the 30th, so it's just like a week long, so I think I can do it. My fickle reading brain, I think, can focus on a set TBR for 1 week, and I am so excited for fall to start. In July, I participated in spooky readathons. I'm participating in a spooky readathon in August. I'm sure September and October there are going to be a lot as well. So this is my time for my spooky little self to shine. So I sat down and I figured out a TBR for Summerween, and then I did this like last week, and as it got closer and closer to me filming this video, I have no longer been in an audiobook mood. So I have 2 TBRs depending on my mood, because when I set my original one, they're like all audiobooks because I was big into audiobooks. I was on an audiobook kick, and now I really just want to physically read. So I'm gonna have options for everything. We're not gonna get to them all, but that's okay. Just as long as I fill in all the prompts, that'll be good with me. So the first challenge is read a book with a creepy cover. For this one, the audiobook that I have is Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power. I don't actually know a lot about this book by choice because I don't want to get spoiled, because I hear that the premise is very out there. I've heard it's supernatural, but I didn't know if it was supernatural because, again, I didn't want to get spoiled. So, I mean, that's a very eerie cover. That girl has like the same color palette as everything else, so I don't know. It can work. So I have an audiobook for that on NetGalley, so I definitely will have that in my possession during this readathon, so that is that prompt. But if I'm not in the mood for an audiobook, my pick is going to be The Chestnut Man by Soren Sveistrup, and this, I don't know, it looks like a little kid kind of drew this cover, and I love creepy kids in horror. That's just chef's kiss. So this is about a serial killer targeting little kids. This is more of a thriller than a horror, but you know, everything spooky counts. It's very large, so I hesitate to put it on my TBR, but just in case I'm not in the mood for Burn Our Bodies Down, this will be my pick for that one. The next prompt is read a paranormal or supernatural book. This is my favorite branch of like horror. Just throw some spooky ghost shit in there and it's a good book to me. So my first plan is going to be Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. Joe Hill is one of my favorite writers. This is actually his first full-length novel, and I've never read it. I was putting it on the back burner, so I kind of started in reverse order for his books. I've been saving this one. I think this book would be perfect for this readathon. I believe it's about a rocker who is really into spooky artifacts and like buys a lot of supernatural paraphernalia, stuff like that. He ends up buying this box and it has a spirit inside, and the spirit is apparently the father of a woman that he has jilted in some way. So that sounds really, really good. Obviously we've got ghosts for that paranormal element there. That one I have through Libby, so just in case, again, like I said, not feeling an audiobook, or if it gets returned to the library before this readathon, I will be picking up Drackle by Dr. Stoker and J.D. Barker. I've been meaning to get to this book for a while now. It's a vampire story. It's actually really cool because the author is related to Bram Stoker, so this is, I believe, an origin tale. It's actually following Bram Stoker in 1868. Bram Stoker apparently has interactions with vampires, so that is like the inspiration for Dracula for him. So I think that sounds like really cool, almost like revisionist history sort of stuff that I like in historical fiction, but then also make it really creepy with vampires. And this has also been blurbed by R.L. Stine, Riley Sager, Richard Chismar, and Josh Mallerman, so I have heard good things about this one. I bought it on a whim 2 years ago now. I was just at Barnes & Noble. You know how it goes. You see something and it just somehow ends up in your shopping basket, and I just have never picked it up, and I think this would be a really perfect read. So if I don't get to this during this readathon, I am definitely planning on reading it maybe in September or especially October too, because nothing screams Halloween like a good vampire story. The next prompt is read a book with a haunted house. So for my first option, I'm planning on reading Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. I have been wanting to read this one for a while. It's about a group of horror authors that all get invited to stay the night in this house that's reportedly haunted. I believe all of the writers are actually skeptics, but they think for one way or another they all have different reasons for staying at the house. But I think like a lot of them are using it as like inspiration, something like that. But they're all brought to this house, and the house, surprise surprise, is actually supernatural. I've heard nothing but great things about this book, and I've actually read Violet by Scott Thomas. Violet was actually nominated for one of the best horror of 2019. I did enjoy it. It wasn't my favorite, and I actually thought it was a little slow, which is rich coming from me because I love big and slow books, but the horror in it was impeccable. The stuff that I didn't like about Violet was it was about a woman renovating a house, and there would be like pages and pages describing home renovations, and I'm not a big home renovations kind of gal, but other than that, I really enjoyed the atmosphere Scott Thomas sets up and the horror descriptions as well. So I am really looking forward to reading Kill Creek. I just love haunted house horror, and this just sounds like a classic setup of a bunch of skeptics hanging out in a house. But my second option is going to be House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielowski. If you have watched my channel for a while, aren't you tired of me holding up this book? I keep trying to get to it, and I just never do. And I'm just so intimidated by this book, but House of Leaves is about a haunted house. This one is written in a very mixed media format, and it's also more literary, so that is why I think I've been neglecting it. So this is actually one that I am going to try and read maybe all August long, because I just think I do need to dedicate a lot of time to reading it, because it is a very dense book and it definitely does not suit itself to the more fast-paced reading that you would get in a readathon. So I gotta just psych myself up and read it sometime. Now the next prompt is read a book in the dark, and for this one I'm hoping that one of my audiobooks I will just listen to before bed each night, or you know, maybe when I get up early in the morning getting ready for work. It'll still be dark outside, but I plan on listening to one of my audiobook selections solely in the dark. As I spend more time on BookTube and more time doing readathons, I've learned when, you know, the hosts give you a gift like this prompt where you don't have to pick a specific book for it, you can just double up. You need to double up. I'm so bad about doubling up prompts, and as you can see from my TBR, I've picked multiple books for each prompt, but this one is just open-ended. I'm just going to be reading one of my selections in the dark, so I think that'll be really fun, because especially I feel like for an audiobook, that would be like, it would set a really good spooky atmosphere. And then the very last prompt is read a book recommended by the hosts. So I did go with one that Gabby from Gabby Reads really enjoyed, and that's Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I've not read Pet Sematary yet. Actually, I have a really eerie story about Pet Sematary that I'm going to be saving for my vlogs, because I might be doing daily or weekly vlogs depending on my schedule during that week. But I've had some very weird personal experiences with Pet Sematary, and so I've never read it before, which is crazy because like half my brand on here is Stephen King, but I've never read Pet Sematary. I have seen the original movie, but I haven't read the book. So I'm planning on doing that, and I know this is Gabby's favorite Stephen King book, so I'm looking forward to reading that. And because I am insane and insist on picking like multiple books for each prompt, I think it would be really fun to also try and find one that Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte has recommended as well, just so I can have one from each of them. But we're just gonna have to see at this point, because I have so many picks already that adding another book on top of all this would be crazy. So yeah, got a lot of physical books, audiobooks, my bases are covered. This mood reader is set for this readathon. So again, Summerween starts August 24th, it goes through the 30th. I might be vlogging either week. It's probably going to be a weekly vlog, but I do think it would be a lot of fun to do daily vlogging for this one, because I just love this time of year, so we'll see. We'll see. But that is going to be the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, let me know if you are participating in this readathon, and subscribe for more content from me. I will catch y'all in my next video. Bye!